Hey there, it's Krystal Everdeen, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet a fishnet shawl. Now, of course, you can use any color, type, or size of yarn that you want, but for this project, I'm using this pink yarn from I Love This Yarn, and it is size 4 100% acrylic. I'm also using a size 5mm hook, and I'll have the link to the hook I'm using, as well as some links to yarn if you want to buy them via my Amazon affiliate links, linked in the description box below. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to start off with this scrap yarn since I want to finish it, and then I'll get back to that one. But pretty much you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to create a slip knot, and after you've created your slip knot, you're going to chain a chain that is long enough to wrap around your arm. Now it depends on how you want this shawl to fit. Do you want it to fit loose or do you want it to fit rather snug? Totally depends on you. So for me, I prefer looser fitting sleeves just because I think that they're more comfortable, but if you think that the tighter fitting sleeves is what you prefer, then totally up to you. And of course everyone has different arm sizes, so the number of chains is going to vary. So for me, I'm essentially just going to continue making more and more chains until I wrap the chain around myself and I'm happy with the fit. Again, if I wanted it to be snug, I would fit the chain so that it fits something like this. You do still want a little bit of room, especially since the yarn doesn't really have too much of a stretch. But if you want it snug, it pretty much needs to look like this. But do not measure at your wrist because that is the thinnest part of your arm. You want to measure at the widest part of your arm, which is normally your bicep, but I can't really do that with the camera. So do this essentially, but at your bicep or the largest part of your arm, and once it's able to fit snugly there, or if you want it loose, you know, however loose you want it, then you'll be done with the number of chains. So I actually went ahead and finished my chain, and I did a total of 70 chains. And again, I like to have looser fitting sleeves, so I measured it against my bicep. Pretend this is my bicep, aka the largest part of my arm, and I just kept going until I was happy with like the sleeve length. I do love like a good bell sleeve or loose sleeve, so this is what I ended up with, and this is how wide my sleeve is going to be. Again, if you want it to be snug against your arm, measure it so it fits you like this, but again, at the widest part of your arm, because if you measure it at your wrist, it's not going to fit the rest of your arm. So yeah, totally up to you. Depends on how wide you want your sleeve to be. You could have like medium sleeve, you could have bell sleeve like me. Totally up to you, but again, I am typically a size small, extra small or small, and I did 70 chains for a bell sleeve fit. I guess it doesn't really help because it's a bell sleeve and not snug, but again, you just measure using your own arm and you should be fine. Okay, so after you're done with the chain, then you're happy with the size your sleeve is going to be, you're going to now chain some more because this is going to be a fishnet, and fishnet stitches consist of 5 chains. So you're gonna chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to go back to that last stitch and you're going to slip stitch into it. And that is your first little fishnet stitch. Now if you want your fishnet to be even larger, all you have to do is chain more. If you want it to be smaller, then all you have to do is chain less. But mine are 5 chains, so I'm gonna make another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to skip 2 stitches, go into that 3rd stitch, and then create a slip stitch. And there's my little fishnet stitch. And then I'm gonna do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 2 stitches, go into that 3rd stitch, and slip stitch into it. And there's my other little fishnet. And you're just going to repeat that until you reach the end of the row. 3, 4, 5. Skip 2 stitches, go into that 3rd one, slip stitch. Voila! All these little fishnet shapes. All it is 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches, go into that third stitch, and then a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches, and then go into that third stitch and create a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches, go into that third stitch, slip stitch. And that's what your project should look like so far. You're just going to do that all along the chain until you get to the end of the row. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains, skip 2 stitches, go into that third stitch, then a slip stitch. Then from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2 stitches, go into that third stitch, and a slip stitch. And your project should look something like this. Okay, go ahead and continue until you reach the end of the row, and I will meet you there. Okay, so I've reached the end of the row. This is what my project looks like so far. Just one row of this little fishnet stitch, and voila. So I'm at the very last stitch of the row. I had one left over, so I'm just going to single crochet into it. Then I'm going to chain 1, flip the project over, and then chain 5. Was the chain 1 necessary? I'm not sure, but it's just a habit of mine to chain 1 every time I start a new row. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and chain 5 after that, and then slip stitch into the previous row's scallop. And I'm just going to make another row of scallops on top of the previous row of scallops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then slip stitch into the scallop, like so. And I try to aim for the middle of the scallop so it's nice and even. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains, then I go into the scallop in the middle, and then I slip stitch that chain I just created onto the previous row's fishnet. And the project should look something like this. So very, very easy to do. This project is very easy, just very tedious because it's a rather big project. You know, you have to make 2 pretty long sleeves. So yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And yeah, that's essentially it. And pretty much all you need to do to make your sleeve from here on in. This is just rows and rows of building upon the previous row and making more fishnet stitches on top of the previous row of fishnet stitches. And you're just going to continue building it until you are happy with the size of your sleeve. 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And yeah, so I'm just going to continue making my little fishnets until I reach the end of the row, and then I'll show you again what I do at the end of the row, and I will see you there. Okay, so I've completed the second row of this fishnet stitch, and it looks something like this. Don't worry if your project gets a little twisty. Mine's getting pretty twisty. It's totally fine, but to combat that, we're going to do this. So I'm at the end of my second row of the fishnet stitch, right? I made my 5 chains for the very last fishnet stitch of this row. I'm going to go into the very last stitch of the row and make a slip stitch. So again, the project looks something like this. So instead of continuing on like this, going back and forth on this, and at the very end, connecting them together, we're actually just going to connect them together right now and then work in a circle. I feel like it's a little bit easier to do it that way, but totally up to you if you want to do this. You could do it either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work my way up right here, this side right here, because I want my hook to end up here, and then when I attach the other side together, then I stitch my way down, and then I'm back where I started. So right now I'm going to stitch my way up. I'm just going to create 2 slip stitches to get to the very top right here. So now I'm at this side of the project. I'm going to chain 1 because it's a habit and I feel like it does something. And I'm going to grab the 2 ends of the project and I'm going to meet them together. I'm going to attach the two sides together with a slip stitch, and now they're attached. But to secure it, this is why I wanted to do 2 rows before I attach them together. I'm going to attach them with a slip stitch one more time so that it is extra secure. I don't know why it's not going through. There you go, one side and the other side, and slip stitch. Voila! So now they are attached and it's just one project, and you can see how it could eventually be a sleeve. And again, yours could look like half the size of mine if you wanted yours to be more snug. Mine's going to be like a nice wide bell sleeve, so this is what my project looks like. And from here, I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to continue my rows and rows of the fishnet stitch. So from here, I'm going to chain my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to make a new row of my fishnet stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just continue on. But instead of going back and forth, I'm going to go around and around, and I'll let you know what that looks like once I reach this point again. So I'm going to go all around, and then once I'm right here, I'll let you know what I do next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But again, this is optional if you don't want to do this and you just want to attach it all with a slip stitch in the end. That's perfectly fine too. If you watched any of my other like long sleeve tutorials, whether it's a cardigan or just a long sleeve crochet top, typically I just go back and forth on the project, and at the very end I fold it in half and I attach it like this. But for this one, I think it'd be better if I attached it in the beginning, just easier. 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, I'll meet you once I am at the end. Okay, so I went all around and the project looks something like this. Now I'm going to make my very last fishnet stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see we are right back where I attached it originally. We're just going to go ahead and hide that forever by just slip stitching into the first scallop stitch that we made after attaching it, and from here on in we're just going to treat this like any other scallop stitch, and we're just going to continue going around and around and around until the project gets longer and longer and it covers my entire arm. So yeah, I'm just going to continue making my scallop stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again I will check back in with you after a few rows so you get an idea of what it should look like with the progress. Here's what the project looks like after a few more rows. It still doesn't really look too much like a sleeve, but once it gets longer and longer, then it'll definitely look like one. But yeah, this is what a few more rows of a fishnet stitch looks like. So I'm just going to continue going around and around and around, making the fishnet stitches. And here's another update of what the project looks like so far. I'm only about right below my shoulder. So this is what the project looks like so far. Again, if you wanted your sleeve to be snug, it's probably only about that big. Yeah, that seems about right. So if you wanted like a snug sleeve, it's about that wide, and it probably looks something like this when you try it on. But since mine's really wide, it looks like this when I try it on. Oh, it's so cute. But yeah, obviously not long enough, so I'm just gonna continue making more and more rows until it is long enough to cover my whole arm. Okay, so after many rows, this is what my project looks like, all complete. I am short, so yes, my arm is short, and this is what my project looks like. It's able to actually cover from my shoulder all the way up to my wrist, so go ahead and try it on for you, make sure that it fits you right. And then once you're happy with the coverage, you can cut the yarn from the yarn ball and seal your project, and then do it all over again for the second sleeve. So yes, you're going to, of course, need 2 sleeves if that's what you want. And once you've created both of them, all you need to do is essentially attach them together so you'll be able to wear it. So what you need to do now is make a chain from one sleeve to another that reaches across your back, and has plenty of space for you to move around and stuff. So of course, like the sleeves, everybody's is going to be different sizes, require a number of different chains and rows and stuff. So I'm just going to use the trial and error method. I'm just going to make a bunch of chains and then put the project over my back, I guess. Like, I'll wear this sleeve and then I will stretch this chain across my back, and once it reaches my other shoulder, then I'll know that it's long enough. So it's gonna look something like this. So from the top of one sleeve to across your back, obviously this is way too short, but across your back, and then we're going to attach it to the other sleeve. So that's what we're going to do. And again, in order for you to figure out how long this needs to be, just wear this as you know you would your regular sleeve. Try it on, and then stretch this chain across your back until it reaches your shoulder, and then also give yourself a couple of extra chains after that because you want to be able to move around in your shawl. And if it's too small, then there's not going to be a lot of leeway for movement. So yeah, just go ahead and make as many chains as you need to in order for it to reach across your back. Okay, so I went ahead and chained and chained and chained until I was happy with the size of it. I made a total of 57 chains. So now that I'm happy with the length of this chain and it stretches across my back to my other shoulder, I'm going to grab my other sleeve and attach this together like so with a slip stitch. And boom, now the two sleeves are attached together. And what this is going to serve as is the very beginning of like the body of the shawl. So this is going to be really easy. You're just going to make a couple rows of fishnet stitches, and that's it. And then you're done with the project, because you just need this area right here is going to serve as like the body of the shawl. Okay, and here's the part where I actually messed up, and I didn't even realize that I messed up until after I filmed this entire tutorial, and I even like tried it on, and I was filming, you know, the part where I'm trying it on, and then I unraveled the project, because I unravel most of my projects that I do tutorials for just so I could reuse the yarn. So as I was unraveling it, I was like, oh, that's why it fits weird, is because I didn't attach this like support portion on the right part of the sleeve. So just ignore everything that you're seeing right now. I did this wrong. I was not supposed to attach it on the sides of the sleeves. I was supposed to attach it on the inner portion of the sleeves. So I'm going to show you exactly where to make these fishnet stitches to complete your shawl. And it's not right here. It is within the sleeve. So let me just go ahead and draw it out for you. Okay, so here are our sleeves, right? Hopefully more even than my drawing, but you know what? I'm trying my best. Anywho, so this is where I went wrong in the project, and I didn't realize it until it was too late for me to show you the right way to do it. So hopefully this helps. I attached the body of the shawl down here on the sides of the sleeve, like along the bicep area, where I was supposed to attach it along the shoulder area, obviously to, you know, that whenever you put anything on, it's, you know, from shoulder to shoulder, but something went wrong in my head and I attached it from sleeve to sleeve, or from bicep to bicep, and I didn't realize it until like way later. But anywho, so on your sleeve, again, you have the round portions where you know, went all around for the sleeve, and that's where you're supposed to work on. That's where you attach the yarn on one side, and then you chain across the other side, and then that's where you make your fishnet stitches from there, and that's where you make the body. So again, these are your sleeves, and you're going to work on the round portion of the sleeve where your shoulders are going to go into. And then from there, that's where you make the body, not on the actual like sleeve portion on the top where the round portion is. That's where you're supposed to make the body of the shawl. Now, if you're wondering, how in the world did you get that confused? Like, how did you mess up this bad? Well, I don't know what I was thinking, but essentially when I placed the sleeves down, they look like this, right? They're rectangular, and for some reason in my mind, I just like totally forgot about the sleeve portion of it. I don't know what I did, but anywho, I laid down the two sleeves, And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to attach it from one side to the other. So then I attached it from one side to the other. And then I made my fishnet stitches working on this area of the sleeve. And then when I put it on, it was funky because that's not where you're supposed to attach the body of the project, of the shawl. You're supposed to attach it right here where the sleeves are, or rather where the sleeve holes are, and then work, on the portion of the sleeve hole where I'm highlighting right here in pink when I get there. Right here. So right here on the sides, that's where you're supposed to be working on. You're just going to go back and forth on those areas only, right there on the circular part of the sleeve, and just make rows and rows of fishnet stitches until you're happy with the length, and then you'll be done with the project. And if that was still really confusing, I do have a proper tutorial on how to attach sleeves linked in the description box below via my crochet cardigan tutorial. I also think I'm going to make an updated version of this shawl soon, if you want to wait for that as well. But yeah, hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that helps. But that's essentially the last step, and I can't believe I messed it up. But yeah, if you get that right, then you're good to go. And here's the completed shawl, just 2 sleeves and then an attachment in the middle. All you need to do now is style it. Woo! And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it either interesting, entertaining, or helpful, please give it a big thumbs up before you go, and check out the rest of my channel for more crochet related videos. I have plenty of tutorials ranging from beginner friendly to more advanced, and some of them actually come with written patterns. So yeah, explore my channel some more if you love crochet or Disney. That's pretty much what I'm all about. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye! And have a magical day.
These days, under the sun together. These days, let's make them last forever. These days, let's hope they last forever.